I am 22 years old, commuting from a job in Washington to my apartment in Baltimore, and I needed gas, and I hardly had any money, so I went to a gas station where the gas was cheap. So I was getting my gas at 10:30 at night, and these little teeny children came up to me and said, "Can we pump your gas?" And I thought that I was a little bit uncomfortable with having small children pump my gas, but I started to talk to them, and I said, "Where do you guys live?" And they pointed across the street to the Capital City Inn, which was at the time Washington, D.C.'s largest homeless shelter. And I was sort of fascinated as to how there could be a blight like this in the capital of the United States. But anyway, these kids are pumping gas at night for spare change. And I said, "What's it like living at the Capital City Inn?" And they said, because I was fascinated with this. I did not know what life at a place like that was like. And they said, "It's boring." And I asked them if they wanted to go to the zoo, and they were very excited to go to the zoos. So I went back to get the kids, and I couldn't find those particular gas pumping children because there were dozens of children swarming, literally crawling on top of my car, begging me to take them out, to take them anywhere. And eventually, they did close the Capital City Inn, mercifully, and I stayed with the few families that I could track who moved to different apartment complexes or other homeless shelters. So I met this little girl, Rosalind. She was about 7 or 8, and she was having a hard time in school at the time. So I taught her how to read, and I would bring her Dr. Seuss books, and she got really good at reading and was so proud, and we had so much fun. So I became friends with their family, and I would pick her up and some other children, and we would do things together. And eventually, Rosalind and Tony and their family wound up living at a subsidized apartment complex here in Ward 8, in Washington, D.C.'s Ward 8, called Wellington Park. I was always picking the children up and begging my friends to come with me. And eventually my friends started coming with me. And around the time they started coming with me is when people were also giving me money. People knew what I was doing with the kids, so they would just pull money out of their wallet and say, "Here you go. This is to help you pay for glasses, or this is to help you pay for food." And I thought to myself, if they were writing a check to something other than me, I bet I could get even more money. I thought to myself, these children need a tutoring program. So I went down to the Congressional Federal Credit Union and I said, "I would like to open an account, but I don't want it to have my name on it. I want it to have another name." And they said, "Well, you have to incorporate." And I went and signed the Articles of Incorporation in front of a notary in one of the basement offices of one of the congressional office buildings. And I wrote a check, and Bob's your uncle. I had incorporated Horton's kids. I have lots of memories. I remember Tony when he was teeny and when he got into the lab school. I remember Delante being the ring bearer in my wedding. I remember getting thank you notes from Miss Donetta, which are beautiful works of art, totally from the heart. You can tell that she really, really means it. I've always volunteered a lot. I've always loved kids. I've always been very uncomfortable with the idea that in the face of great richness, there is also extreme poverty. I have a problem with that, especially when it affects children who I think are innocent.